We're looking at Emigrant Peak of the Emigrant mountain range in southern Montana.
My wife's parents survived the Depression here on the creek, scratching out enough gold to take to Emigrant and trade for groceries. A lot of the gold in this wedding ring my wife had made for me, the stuff that she panned right out of the creek here. My name's Bryan Wells. I believe in mining, I believe in logging, really traditional, very, very conservative, socially and fiscally. I live up Emigrant Gulch on Emigrant Creek in Paradise Valley. Gold fever's real, it really is. I've seen grown men get really silly looking at just a little bit of gold.
The Emigrant project is a copper gold target that we've been working on in Montana. It's about 30 miles north of Yellowstone Park. We run into some resistance to us there, as you can imagine.
When Lucky Minerals first went up into the Gulch, June 2015, the Forest Service, they were asking for a categorical exclusion, which is the least amount of oversight, very little, if any. And the agency feels compelled to do so because of 1872 mining law. It tells them that they're obligated to allow this to happen. They were one day away from giving them that permit. We basically stopped them by one day.
Secretary of the Interior was then Sally Jewell, came to our community and announced a 2-year mineral withdrawal. That was a temporary stay on new mining in Emigrant Gulch. Senator Tester announced at that meeting that he would introduce a bill to permanently protect these places.
When I first stepped out to join this movement, it was a battle in my mind because I was joining hands with people that I've always disagreed with. What helped me a lot was the way I was treated. I mean, they treated me like family. I didn't want to join just because this mine in particular would destroy my business, because I think that's selfish. I can be against these mines because I know what it's going to do to my friends also. And that's what this movement needs to be about. If you're going to have a powerful voice, you have to leave politics at home.
We don't agree on a lot of things, but this is one thing that we can agree on. We have a different vision for what this community could look like in the future.
This isn't about a mining ban. This is about making sure that we mine in appropriate places. This is not an appropriate place for a mine.
We had a mining project on our property, and it was about 7 years ago. We were approached by a mine promoter, and my wife was recovering from cancer, and I had some kind of an autoimmune issue, but I could hardly dress myself. So we were kind of in a bad place. I didn't know if I was ever going to work again. We signed a lease with this company. And one thing I'll never forget, after I signed that lease, they started treating me different. It was just a lot of deception and a lot of dishonesty. Growing up here, I'm not used to dealing with that kind of stuff. Ready for a pancake, Mom? It was a bad experience. And it ended, they came up to me and they said they were out of funds. It was just one problem after the other, this whole project. There have been people who have tried to compare my project with the proposal like I'm a hypocrite, but you can't compare it. But our project was a placer mine, employed about 8 people, lasted 4 months. The project that's proposed up the creek is a hard rock mine in sulfide ore, and according to their website, it's going to be massive. We're going to go to the trailhead on Gold Prize Creek, and we're going to start there, and we're going to climb to the top of Emigrant Peak, 10,960 feet above sea level. And I really hope I can make it. I was 12 or 13 years old the last time I climbed Emigrant Peak with 2 friends of mine. It's a pretty special place. When you go up the creek here to these areas where this proposed mines are, you can see Yellowstone Park. 2,500 acres is how much ground they've claimed up for their mine, and it's public land. And there's a lot at stake. I mean, our economy, for one thing, is the envy of the state because of outdoor recreation and people coming here to enjoy the beauty of this area.
We wouldn't be able to be in business if the water quality went down. You can't make good beer if you don't have good water. My name is Lynette Jones. My husband and I started Katabatic Brewing Company about 4 years ago. You just get to take in the environment around you in such a different way. It's very meditative to fly fish. It's so much slower than anything else that you can do. The water's just, it's one of our passions, and fly fishing is one of our passions. And it's kind of where we've always connected. It's one of the things we've always connected on. So, my husband and I have a son. The legacy that we want to leave for him is trying in the ways that we can to protect just the recreation opportunities, the public lands, just the beauty of the state. We really want Sage to be able to experience that.
Gold mining is a huge part of Montana history. That's what brought a lot of people to Montana in the early days, to Virginia City and Nevada City, and ultimately Emigrant Gulch.
When we think about hard rock mining, when we think about gold mining, we think immediately of its impacts on water. And in this state, we've never had a gold mine that hasn't not just polluted waterways, but polluted them in perpetuity. And I think that's the greatest fear that I have.
When the acid drainage becomes a problem and it comes time to reclaim what's been tore up, companies file bankruptcy, and the Montana taxpayers are left to foot the bill. Millions and millions and millions of dollars have been dropped in our lap as taxpayers to clean up gold mining projects. We're at about 8,500 feet. My legs are starting to protest. Picket signs will be out pretty soon. But we're having a good day. It's beautiful. Makes me think about my Creator.
There's a transition from the thrill of hunting that's kind of in your DNA because you had to survive to I'm part of this ecosystem and how do I sustainably interact with it. My name's Jeff Reed. My wife and I, Robin, own and operate Reed Fly Farm here in Paradise Valley, Montana. What's special about this place is it's still open space, it's still undammed, and to a certain extent, it's still untamed. I started to hunt because my dad taught me, and we hunted for food. But as I got older, the thrill wasn't in the hunt, it was being in the wild, it was being in nature. It's not just about preventing gold mines, it's about dealing with the changes that are happening in the West.
It's an interesting dilemma because we have a silent majority who don't have a problem with the mine, but we have a very vocal, very active bunch that are totally opposed to it. I'm pro-mine if it's done right, and there's ways to go about doing things and ways not to go about doing things, and well, Lucky has gone about it the wrong way.
We're saying no to this project, even though we all use what's coming out of there. The other aspect to it is that it shifts the burden somewhere else. If you limit access to resources, it typically doesn't make the demand go away. I think that you really have to ask yourself, what am I doing when I just put my foot down and say, not here? I'm certain that a lot of these places where other mines are in the world are also paradise valleys.
And I believe that the national parks should be preserved. But today it's 25-mile boundary. What is it tomorrow? Is it 50 miles? Does it become 100 miles? Where does it end? Where do we say enough's enough? I mean, we've already withdrawn 190 million acres of public land from mineral entry. That's almost half of the land in inventory in the United States. So the next step is to see whether Senator Tester and Representative Gianforte get their bills passed and President Trump signs them.
Modern mining, to me, means you can tear up more real estate in a day than the old timers can do in 20 years. Bad idea. The topography, straight up and down and full of water and sulfide ore, recipe for disaster.
The following described National Forest System lands are hereby withdrawn from location and entry under the United States mine laws. Signed, Ryan Zinke, Secretary of Interior.
We're still pursuing permanent protections through Congress with the Yellowstone Gateway Protection Act. 20 years in the scheme of things is not long enough.
I don't want my kids having to deal with this issue in another 20 years.
I've had many varied experiences on Emigrant Peak. I've shot deer on the flanks of that mountain. I've followed a grizzly track within 50 feet of the summit. Some of the best skiing memories of my life are up Emigrant. I'm Dale Sexton. I have a small outdoor specialty store here in Livingston named Timber Trails. My business is very important, but this place is why I'm participating. I'm not here for business, I'm here for quality of life. I'm here to raise a family. I need just a minute.
Ellie, come here.
That helps the ski slide. Makes it go faster, and it also protects the base. I hope my legacy is that my girls will have the same appreciation for free-flowing rivers, wild trout, remote locations, wildlands that I do. My role is to ensure that other people are aware of how unique this place really is. This isn't just my backyard. This is our nation's and our world's backyard, and we're stewards of it.
The people who are closest to the lands ought to have the loudest voice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong support of S47. Our public lands define our Montana way of life, and the consensus is clear. They don't want mining in Paradise Valley.
Vote the yeas are 363 and the nays are 62. The bill is passed.
Thank you.
It may be the only thing I can think of where our countries actually come together. I mean, this is a Montana-made movement for all Americans.
It's never done, fighting for these places. We're never done.
I hope my grandkids grow up and love this place. I hope they understand that their grandpa fought for this place. When they hike up into these mountains, they do not go home and dream about gold mining. They go home and dream about these clear creeks and these mountains and snow caps and wildlife and wildflowers and mountain peaks and untouched country.
Draw a circle and make it wide. Catch me up on that high ridge line. I will make that great divide my home. Bless the burdens that we share, the broken windows that brought us here. Every moment of pain and fear and doubt. I can't help but shake. Begin longest day, the darkest winter.